Hey everyone, and welcome on in to episode number 4 of the Otaku Mode podcast. How is it going? I am your host or co-host Adrian, and I'm joined, as always, by Haley. And this is a new year.
Yep, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! As we say, 20 days into the
I
month of
mean,
January.
it's still a new year. I still have fresh hope, bright eyes.
Fresh hope and bright eyes.
Yes, limitless possibilities.
That's not an everyday thing. That's like a New Year only. Like when it 2026, 2027, you got to have those hopes up high because once you get into it, it might just sink back down.
Yeah, I mean, the ending of the year is always a little bit rough, but I'm an optimist, so I like to have, I like to have a little bit of hope in the new year that things are gonna look up, might be a good year. Let's see.
That's true. That's true. Honestly, that is how it should be. And this year we've got a lot of things for Tom, I guess, in general, and then just the podcast and YouTube and all these wonderful things that we're doing here at Otaku Mode. And we got to say thanks so much if you've been listening, and we hope you'll continue listening as we continue to grow and really just make the podcast even better because
Yeah,
that's
I
what we want
mean,
to do.
it's been fun so far, and looking forward to just growing and expanding and hopefully having some new exciting things along the way. So,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. As we kind of continue talking briefly about the New Year's, because we try to wrap it up in like 40 minutes here. We we're still working technically. Someone's like, but this is your job, so you can do it as long as you want. Wrong.
This is
We can't. We, unless you guys make it to where we can. See, that's how we're gonna get that Patreon money.
There
Someone's
you
like, but
go. There you
you're
go.
already funded. But yeah, what did you do for New Year's? Or like over the New Year's vacation?
So my policy during the new year is to do as little as possible. I like to basically chill at home, eat some food, and watch something. That's usually my New Year's plan.
Good plan.
Yeah, because Christmas is always like a little bit hectic. It's a little bit more, you're seeing people, there's like gifts to worry about. There's like you're kind of running around a little bit, at least for me. So for the New Year's, I like to just like ease into it, like really chill. Um, so this year I did a Lord of the Rings marathon, extended edition, and yeah, that was a good time.
Oh, nice, nice. Um, that's that's exactly how you should spend the New Year, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I am no Lord of the Rings buff. I've seen the movies like maybe once before, and my memory is not that great. So I was like, oh, I kind of don't remember like the main plot points, like what are we doing, what's happening. So my partner had never seen it, so they were like, yeah, let's do Lord of the Rings, and I was like, sure. And yeah, it's a solid adventure story. I mean, you can't fault Lord of the Rings, really.
No,
Really.
you can't fault those Peter Jackson films for the most part, especially the extended director's cuts and all that. I mean, that is something that they really did make sure they tried to do justice to the fans and people who hadn't seen it or read it, like myself, like to really fall in love with that universe. I mean, it was just such a crazy time if you think about it. We had those movies coming out in like what, the early 2000s, and
It
they
was the early
still hold.
2000s, yeah.
Yeah, and they still hold up really well, honestly. I mean, it's just the fact that they built all those sets, and I mean, there's some CG in there obviously, but I feel like those were the first movies where it was, oh my gosh, New Zealand is it's New Zealand, right? Where they
It's
film
New
all this
Zealand,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's New Zealand.
And you're just like, holy crap, this place looks beautiful. Like
It's
the views.
beautiful. Just, like, all the different sort of landscapes and just the terrain and everything, you're just like, "Man," like, it's like it really does make a difference from, like, a green screen sort of
It does.
production,
It
when you're
does.
like, "Oh my god, I can actually go there and experience this." It's a real thing. It just makes it really exciting, at least for me. I was
No,
just
I'm
taken in by the landscape, yeah.
Yeah, I'm always the same when I watch movies, just thinking about if it's, like, really built props and set and dressing and all that type of stuff, I'm like, "This" I have, like, an appreciation for that a lot more, but, I mean, I did go see the new Avatar movie over the break, so, hey, I was fully immersed in 3D, and hey, if you haven't watched one of those movies in the theater, like, on a high speed IMAX, dude, it is something, and,
Yeah, I mean, you can argue the pros and cons of both, and, Avatar movies, they've definitely, like, solidified themselves as being, like, truly high quality.
when you yeah, when you have and I think it's the same with The Lord of the Rings, right? When you have time and money, you can really make some good stuff happen,
Yep.
and you get, like, you can make some good things happen, so,
Yeah.
um, yeah. I'm just thinking.
What about you? How was your New Year's?
I went back home to the States, to good old Alabama, and, there wasn't much really going on. I spent a lot of time with family, and I did the same thing as you, like, I was on the couch watching movies, with family and just eating, whatever my favorite foods I could get while I was back in the States, and then doing a lot of driving to the store or to meet some friends, so that was uh, kind of everything I did. It wasn't like anything exciting. I took my Steam Deck back and played a lot of Luminous Arise. I booted up Chrono Trigger for the first time in my
Nice.
life, finally getting around to that. And just yeah, just kind of relax. So
But yeah, getting to do a lot of driving because I mean, we both live in cities, and so it's not something you really do in Japan because public transport
it's so good.
is so good, but there is something special about being able to just drive wherever you want.
That's been the biggest thing coming back because it's cold here in Japan. And the fact that it's like I got so used to riding around in the car with the heater on and just being like,
Mm.
"It's too hot now. I can turn this down." And now I'm just like on my bicycle and I'm like, "It's cold. I can't warm up anymore. I can only get more cold."
You're just exposed to the elements.
Exactly. That honestly, that was the biggest thing coming back I had to get used to. And then just, apartments and living if you're here in Japan, you'll know that there's no real central air or central heating
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
in the apartments or homes. So you just have to like bundle up, get your heater and readjust that way.
Yep, just gotta weather through it. I mean, the good thing is we're all in the same boat, so
We're all in the same boat. No one's like super tough against it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I can do this." Like, no, we're all in the same boat here,
we're all in
when
the
it
same
comes to
boat, so
winter and summer.
oh, yes, yes, the 2
But,
extremes.
yeah, looking back on 2025, I gotta say, we were thinking about some topics for the show, and there's a couple that we did come across, and one of them is actually pretty funny to me, but we're gonna start with this current season in anime, there's a lot of returning great sequels that are happening. You got Jujutsu Kaisen season 3, and you've got a lot of other things for your in season 2 that are out there, and then a lot of other anime. But we wanted to know like our own stance on anime because there are some great anime like I just named, but you have a choice of the anime or reading the manga first, right? And we're kind of curious, and you feel free to write into us on the YouTube comments if you're listening to this on YouTube. How do you choose to introduce yourself to a new series? Do you start with the anime and then go through that, or do you start with the manga? Yeah, Haley, how do you do it?
Oh, yeah. So I've always been kind of an anime first person, where I watch the anime and then either while I'm waiting for the next season or sometimes it's a short anime, so the anime like it ends,
Hmm.
then it was always like a plus or like a bonus to get to then move on to the manga and then there's like so much more story, you
That makes
know?
sense. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was always kind of like this really nice continuation of like a story that I had already fallen in love with. Um, and yeah, I like doing anime first just because you get to see the characters in action, you get to see them move around. I really like, voice actors,
Mhm.
so getting to hear what a character sounds like, getting to, even the music, the opening songs, the ending songs, any insert songs, the soundtrack, that sort of thing, you just sort of get that it engages, like, all of your senses, right? Well, not
Right,
all of
right.
your senses, but, a
Y
good bit
You
of your
can't smell
senses.
it, but
You can't smell it, but, maybe one day, we're getting there.
we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, so and then I can take that and that the memory of, like, the soundtrack and, like, what the characters sound like, and use that to sort of enrich my manga experience.
That's a good way of looking at it, because I've always I mean, to start out, I'm not the biggest reader. If I tell myself all the time, if there was one thing I would do to go back in time and change, it would be read more books or find a better way to get into reading because I
I
stumbled
mean
across it in the library often. But, yeah, I've always watched the anime first just because of that, and it's one of those things where it makes it hard for me to go back and try to read something I've already like, if I wanna go back and see what the differences are, it's hard for me because I'm like, "Oh, I already know this story, like, this part of it." So, yeah, picking up and then going forward, like you said, is, like, really good for me. That's how I did Naruto, actually.
mhm, mhm.
Watched Naruto for years and years, and then, once it got to, I wanna say a little bit over the halfway of Shippuden or something like that, I switched to just reading, and I never looked back, and I enjoyed it, honestly, I think
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think the biggest difference now with anime is they've gotten so good at representing a lot of these mangaka's art styles, like,
yeah.
nothing looks bad anymore, I wanna
That's true,
say.
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even the cases, like, you think of, like, maybe, like, One Punch Man or, like, Mob Psycho where it, like, even improves upon the art style, like, no shade to, like, mangakas or whatever, like, obviously, they're honing their skills, they're working on improving, but sometimes the anime just gives it, like, a much more polished look, like, if you think of, like, Demon Slayer,
Yeah, yeah.
the animations for that, right?
Demon Slayer is I've told this to some people, but I remember when Demon Slayer first was like the very first week it was in Jump, and I picked it up. I used to buy Jump every week, and I picked it up and I was like, well, what is this crap? Because I was not even studying that art style. I was like, man, they starting to slip out here and jump. And I will say, if you compare like older Jump to a lot of the bigger hits now, even like Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff, like it'll look like some of their stuff is not finished completely. Like,
Mm,
it's definitely a different style. A lot of it is quickly drawn, or it's just, I think they finally got to the point where it's like, "Hey, we can't just have everything looking like, pretty, like Hitman Reborn or something. Now we can't have it looking like that all the time. We look, just get the good stories, man. We need good stories."
yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the fun things of manga is getting to see the art style improve over time
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
they're just, like, working and they're drawing the same characters over and over again, and you're just like, "Man," like, if you compare, like, volume 1 to, like, the latest volume and just the
Volume 1
difference in the art
Ichigo never
style.
changes. It changed so much. It was so better. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, so that's always fun to see, but yeah, I mean, I see what you mean about the way you approach anime versus manga. I mean, the thing for me too is that there's just so much manga, and, I always worry that maybe I'm missing out on some gems that haven't been turned into anime yet,
Yeah.
but then I'm also like, the good ones, they're eventually gonna turn into anime, like, they're gonna make
Eventually.
it.
Yeah, eventually they do. Honestly, Medalist, which came out last year in 2025, and I think went over pretty well with a lot of people. I
Yeah.
started reading that about 2 years before it became an anime. I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of these, when they do get kinda popular, here in Japan, it's around maybe 2, 3 years later, you'll see an anime.
Yeah,
Typically, you'll
yeah.
see one, yeah.
And it's like, maybe sometimes the anime maybe doesn't reflect the quality of the manga, but I think it's a good intro.
It's a good intro. I think that's
It's a
the
good
best way
intro.
of yeah, it's a good intro, and, I mean, that kinda segues into what we're currently watching, and I I mean, I'm watching Frieren season 2, and that's I mean, that's quality. That's just quality, period. I ain't got no problems with it. My only issue, and this is so small. We talked about this, I think, last podcast about kind of a lot of anime now using just popular artists for their openings, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like I like for me personally, I'm not discovering as many newer artists like
Mm,
through anime, and, this season, I think it's Lulu for well, it's Mrs. Green Apple, and the
yeah.
song is called Lulu for Frieren, and it's a beautiful animation, beautiful song. I don't have a problem with it. If I didn't see Mrs. Green Apple every other day or every other week at least. I mean, they do have their own TV show as well, like,
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
you
they're
know
probably, like, one of the most popular bands, that's in Japan at the moment, right?
yeah, I
Safe to
and
say.
it's safe to say, and like, honestly, I know that they will be around when I'm 60. Like, I believe that band would just they're gonna
They'll
be one of the
they'll keep
staples.
going.
Yeah, they'll keep going. I got no doubt unless
Yeah,
he stops
yeah.
singing.
Um, oh, so you'd prefer to have maybe more niche artists or just some smaller artists, I guess,
Yeah,
do
like
anime songs?
yeah, and I guess that's sometimes reserved a little bit for the ending. Sometimes you'll get, like, some artists you don't know as much for the ending. I know that's how I found out about was it Hitsuji Bunka? Which is or is it Bungaku? Bunka? F They did the ending for Jujutsu Kaisen season 2,
Yeah.
and I started following them, like, immediately, like, listening to discographies and everything. But I mean, that's just something I feel is a good way to get more exposure for lesser known bands
Yeah, that's
and just give
true.
more of a chance, you know?
Yeah, because usually, getting an anime song, getting an opening or an ending sort of cements you in the popular in the public eye, basically. That's
Yeah,
usually that tends to become like the band or the group's most popular song. And, that's like what you think of when you immediately think of the artist. So yeah, I see what you mean, and I totally agree. I mean, artists like Mrs. Green Apple, they surely, like, they don't need the help. They're good. They're
they're
solid.
they're great, but that Nana season is it season 2 opening? The season 2 opening where it went too hard, and I'm like, "I ain't never seen or heard from them again." But my gosh, I still remember that song. But yeah, that's what I'm watching. I think at this time, only 1 episode has come out for free in season 2, and like I said, it's very chill. I just really enjoy that slice of life part of it,
Mhm.
and the characters, I mean, like, I think there's just a lot of love and care that was taken into to making that anime in general, for both seasons. And I'm also watching The Darwin Incident, which is about a half human, half chimpanzee, a humanji,
Yeah.
uh, who's a
That is
teenager,
a
by the way.
word. That is a word.
That is yeah, that's a I'm just gonna think of him like a human G, like as a it's a human G, like, but I think it's one of those interesting premises where part of it is we have this organization who really wants all animals to be free and have equal rights to humans somehow. I mean, hey, I love animals too, but I don't know about can animals have freedom of speech? They don't speak in this world, except for Charlie, the human G. He
Mhm.
he can speak and
Is is
read,
is he
write.
kind of like is he kind of like the go-between between humans and animals, like that bridge?
He could I think that's the thing, in the first episode, the kind of animal liberation alliance is like, we need him for our plan, to, like, kind of help our movement, but Charlie himself, the human G, he's yeah, like you said, he's an in-between. He could be for humans, he could be, against animals because they give this interesting question of, hey, like if it's just you and some a bully basically at school on his first day is like, hey, like if it's just you and this other animal in the room and you're both gonna die, like, would you eat that animal? And he's like, yeah, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna eat the animal. And it's just like, can you hear? They juxtapose that by at the end of the episode, um, he sees a spider and a butterfly. You know, the butterfly's caught in the web, and he's just like he has a kind heart, and he releases the butterfly from the web, and his mom comes up to him, and she's like, "How was your day, Charlie?" He's like, "I think I just got in the way of this spider's like lunch, but it was a good day." And he just
Mm,
goes, gets in the car. So like
mm.
he has both logic, both thoughts, it's very interesting. I'm curious to see where it's gonna go.
It's interesting, and it's like, for me okay, so my reason for not watching this is just because I don't like primates, I don't like monkeys,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. So, it's not something that I would particularly choose to watch, but I always appreciate shows that sort of, you know, are a little bit out of the ordinary. Like, this sort of stands out as having, like, a really unique kind of premise. Whether you are into it or not, you have to agree that it is pretty, you
Yeah,
know, it's
it's
pretty
out
unique.
there. It's pretty unique, and I think we see some of these themes, so often that we're like, for me, I know I'm
Yeah.
always searching for something new.
Okay, now I gotta complain a little bit. I just have
Yeah.
to. Now, trying to pick an anime to watch, I think I've sort of hit my I don't wanna call it a breaking point, but
Mhm.
I just feel like I've seen so much, like, reincarnation plots. Like, I mean, we've had so many isekai, and a lot of them are isekai reincarnation plots. For me, it's sort of like I'm not saying that they're bad or they're good or anything in particular, but it becomes difficult to, like, tell them apart because 'cause I'm just like, "Oh, it's another one. Oh, it's another one," and, like, I don't necessarily give them a chance because I'm like, "This kind of all looks the same."
No, I'm with you on that. I mean, when we were thinking about this topic, we ended up accidentally asking ourselves, do we like anime anymore? Like, do we is this even like interesting? Because I mean, like so for us, just to let people know, we've been in Japan for like 10, 12, whatever years, right? And in that
Yeah,
time, I can tell you the things that we missed. We were not here for the Moe boom, right? K-On, all that kind of stuff. The Moe boom was over when we got here, and we entered wasn't isekai. It's something similar. It was protagonists being put into virtual reality games.
yeah,
Sword Art Online, Excel Saga, all or Excel World, I forgot what it's called. But all of that became the thing, which then leads to light novels becoming something that, hey, we can get stories from light novels and animate them. There's like 1,000 of these things.
yep.
Okay. And that's when we got to isekai. And we've been there for at least 5 years, it feels like.
I
And
feel
we're
like it's
on the
been
point,
longer, honestly.
yeah, and we're on the point of isekai now where like it's like Freerin, and no offense to Freerin, right? Freerin's not isekai. It's not at all. But we've had this fantasy, could we say high fantasy? Is that what we're looking at? High fantasy
Yeah,
background for a lot of these isekais, whether they be heroes, whether they be knights or whatever. You have this, and now you have the twist on it where, oh, like nothing's happening in this isekai. The war is over. It's done. So now I'm just a baker in the isekai world. Now we're in that. So the
yeah,
background is all the same, but the contents are a little bit more lighter. Or if you're watching Sentenced to Be a Hero, which is darker, which is out this season, it's like, hey, we have heroes who are doomed to fight over and over against evil as a punishment for being a hero. So it's like, okay,
yeah.
but still, magic, swords, Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we are doing things it is evolving. It's not to say like it's been like really it's been the same story over and over again, but it just tends to be like the bulk of what you see. And so
yeah,
for me, I'm just like, it's hard to tell when something is good. Like I feel like it has to be really good, like for example, Freerin, where
yeah,
it's like it's that same sort of high fantasy, magical, elves, mages, knights, that sort of thing, but it rises to the top. And there's
yeah.
a lot of content. You can find stories of anime about knights, anime about elves, like a dime a dozen.
A dime a dozen, and I think,
Yeah.
like, I think some of the ones that I guess stand out, like Frieren, are the ones that were just always that way. They weren't, it's not like they were an isekai, like Goblin Slayer. That is not an isekai, but that for me, I was like, okay, like I can get into this a little bit after a couple episodes. It took a while for me to actually even like get into that. Um, but I really do think that like you said, we've seen so much and we know exactly what we like. We can look at the key visuals of every anime and immediately go, "Nah, this isn't for me." Okay, yeah, this might be a try, or okay, yeah, I want to watch this, right? So it's it's wild. It's wild because I think living in Japan, we've always had that. Okay, there are around 60 anime sometimes per season. Per season, that is number one, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, even on the low count, there's anywhere from 30 to 40 anime every season that are coming out. And it's impossible for these companies to feasibly, you know, make original stories at that rate. They have to get them from somewhere. And right now, your choices are either manga or, light novels. And
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
and that's all they kind of have to choose from. So I don't know how you solve the problem other than cutting down on the entire season, which means unfortunately cutting down on the anime
Mm,
and the money that would come from the industry. Conversely, the people working on it potentially not. I don't know if it would actually, if they would be laid off or if it would be a blessing for them not to have to work so much. Like it's
oh,
more of a
well,
steady schedule.
that's a whole different
That's
conversation
a whole
too.
different conversation. Like, could you
Yeah.
imagine if they could just spend half a year? I don't know how long they spend on one anime, but if it were more of a 9 to 5, like
Mhm.
actual 9 to 5, because okay, guys, we're gonna put this anime out half a year later or something like, or at the end of the year, and we can take our time with it. Here's some things that we can do. We're not pressed as much on it. I don't know, like it's just that there are so many now. Like you said, that we run into the same tropes a little bit too often. Doesn't mean they're
Yeah.
not bad anime,
No,
it
it
just
doesn't mean
means
they're bad.
yeah.
And it's like, there are some series that will take the same tropes and do something fun with it.
Yeah.
Um, but, I feel like I'm more likely to pass over an anime that's like an isekai reincarnation story because I'm like, oh, I have an idea how that goes. I think I can probably guess what happens.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're talking about something like the Darwin incident, uh, you're like, "Oh, okay, well, this is a story that hasn't really been done before. Let's see what happens here," you know?
Yeah, yeah. And then there's, like, the original anime that come out every so often within a season that's just, something unique and not based on anything out there, and those are usually pretty good or can be pretty good gems. So
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, those are usually like they tend to be passion projects. Not to
mhm.
say that people working on a regular anime and manga aren't like passionate about it, but like, usually the original ones, they tend to have like really enthusiastic staff behind it that really want to get the story out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So they tend to be pretty interesting.
I agree
Um,
with you. Yeah.
the downside is they're usually a little bit on the shorter side because they don't have a source material to go off of, and for me, that's a little disappointing. Like, I usually end up wanting more of the original.
Yeah, either they'll be a little bit shorter or something about the story might not connect as well, like, there's something where maybe they had to hit a deadline and it's like, we don't have leeway, but, we have to get out what we can get out. I've seen that happen in a couple of cases, but like you said, they're good to champion when you can find them.
Yeah.
So, um, I guess we have, like, one more thing on the docket, our goals for 2026.
Alright,
I should not
yeah.
laugh at the goals for 2026. I should be
Yeah,
very
well, first of all, are you a goal maker? Like, is that a thing that you do? Because, like, for me, I love the blank slate of a new year. Like, I know it's all imaginary. This is all arbitrary. We're all just agreeing to, like, some made up point in time. But
yeah.
for me, it works. I like the new year, new not I'm not gonna say new year, new me because
New year, new you. Hey, hey. Full
the
of hope.
It's a little too hopeful, but, no, I do like the idea of a blank slate, like, just starting fresh, so I tend to want to make goals in the new year.
Okay. I'm not the opposite. I used to think about doing that every year. I would try to, um, make goals, and then I just realized I never followed through with them. So I started writing them down, and that really helped. I just have, like, a notepad or, like, a note, doc open on my phone, and I just start writing down, everything I kinda hope for this year, maybe some themes or goals that I wanna accomplish, and then I don't look at that thing not ever again, but, every once in a while, I'll check in on it, and, by the end of the year, I'm actually surprised that some of the stuff that I've been working on, actually, more than half of it or so I've done without even looking back at that docket. And I'm just like, you know what? It helped just organize my thoughts and maybe subconsciously it sticks with me. But, every year it's a new year, but every day is a new day is kind of how I think about it. So it's never too late to start trying your goals.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, yeah, it just, find what works for you. Is it a new
Exactly.
day? Is it a new year? Is it a new month? Like, a new week? Like, whatever makes it stick, I
Hmm.
think you just gotta figure out what works for you and go from there.
Exactly. Exactly. I know you said that you want to read all of the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, so okay, I just wanna read in general. I am a book person. I had a big reading slump last year where I didn't read as much as I wanted to. It feels bad, man, and I'm just
Was
like,
it
this ye
was it more than 1 book? Did you read
I
1 book?
look, I only read 29 books, which for me is a low. That is a low, low.
I know I'm not the only one sitting here just going like, "You guys read 29 books." I read 0. Read 0. Everyone else is like, "Yeah, I read about 5." Haley, 29. Man, y'all keep up. Keep up. This is low. This is low quota.
I mean, obviously, look, read at your own pace. As long as you're reading, you're doing fine. But for me, that's a low. So I'm really excited about reading more this year. And yeah, since I watched The Lord of the Rings, I've never actually read the books. I know, collective gasps, like, how dare I consider myself a fantasy fan? And I haven't read the books, but I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. That's one of my goals for the year. Gonna
That's a good one.
see
That's an
see what it'll
epic
be.
that's an
Yes.
epic goal. Yes.
Journey to Middle Earth and see what all the fuss is about, because, I mean, I know they're good books. I know I'm not gonna be disappointed. It's just one of those things where I was always just like, "I will get to it," and it just kind
Mhm.
of never happened. Um, so yeah, read more, read Lord of the Rings.
That's a good one. Read more. Read Lord of the Rings. I know I my goal is to catch up in One Piece. I'm stuck in Wano. So I've always watched One Piece, and I've had umpteen billions of times that I could read One Piece. I actually don't blasphemous. I don't really like Oda's art style, ironically, in terms of
Okay, okay,
everything
you know
that's
what?
yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't like the One Piece art style either. That's just my opinion, but it's a strong opinion, and so I feel you. Continue.
People yeah, people will be like, "What are y'all talking about?" So I explain it this way, like, it's hard for me to follow everything on the pages of the manga because it's always so busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and all the moments that I've kinda connected with, I've watched it in the anime, so that's where I've been, and, people will know there are moments when some of the anime really did slow down, Whole Cake Island. It doesn't matter that it makes a difference that I lived here and had to wake up every morning at 9 o'clock and somehow try to watch an episode that was filler or felt like filler. And eventually, by the time they left Whole Cake Island, I was like, I wasn't watching anymore. I was done. And now I've been living off plot points. I know the plot points, the highs, the lows, and I'm satisfied with it. And I feel dirty for being satisfied with it. I feel dirty for that.
Dirty.
Because so I watched around, I'll binge a whole bunch of One Piece. I watched around 79 episodes in a week last year. I'm halfway through Wano. So like I'm sitting here like I already know Gear 5, but I'm also somewhat watching, reading Egghead, and then also kind of in Elbuff already. So like I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. But I need to like
Mhm.
centralize myself. So my goal is to catch up on the anime and then just start reading, regardless of the
Nice.
art style. Just read on up.
I
Then one
mean
day he'll say, "It's over." And I'll be like, "Thank you." Thank you.
finally, our journey has come to an end.
My journey. People are like, "I can't believe he calls himself a fan." Hey, I've been on this boat for like 20 plus years. Give me a break. I've been riding the boat hard.
You just wanna touch dry land.
I want to touch dry land. I don't even care what One Piece is, people. I stopped. I stopped.
That's what happens
Oh,
when you get old, but the characters stay the same, you know? I
man.
mean, I know there's time skips and stuff, but, they're still young. They
Even
still
yeah,
have
even yeah, they're still young. Even then, they're still like One Piece is more condensed time frame wise than you ever realize. It's kind of
Mhm,
strange.
mhm.
Couple months, 3 months, 3 months and 2 years or something like what the heck. But yeah,
I
I think
mean,
our oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and then our collective goal, I guess, is to watch more anime.
Yeah, watch more anime. All I watched last year was Kaiju number 8 season 2. Happily,
Uh,
but only
I
one.
mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm fully waiting for more Apothecary Diaries. I think that was the highlight of last year for me, which is pretty early in the year. I mean, I know there's been a lot of good stuff, but I just need to get to it, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
Um, so that's definitely a goal. Spend some more time watching anime
less
and
time watching
yeah.
real people.
I mean, honestly, when the world's on fire, just watch anime.
Just watch anime. Those
Yeah.
worlds are usually not on fire.
No,
They're
no, let's be real. They're also kind of on fire, but it's not your fire.
It's not your fire. It's some hero from some other world who got reincarnated. It's their fire.
It's someone else's fire, so
It's
it's
someone
fine.
else's. And then we have our podcast goals. Obviously, we podcast once a month, so we'll continue to try to be regular on that and not miss any podcast unless we're both home or whatever, something like that. So that's one. And then also to have guests to talk about more topics here on the show, whether it's from Tom or maybe someone who's not working at Tom, just to have another voice here to add to the collective. And, you know, you never know. Our voices are nice, but someone's voice is even better to hear.
Yep, yep. And we know some interesting people and I'd love to have them on the podcast. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. Um, so that's for the most part it, and hopefully, uh, down the line, we'll figure out how to maybe make some shorts or, just things to advertise the podcast a little bit more. And once again, to everyone who is listening, we definitely appreciate. We're now on iTunes. We are wait, it's not iTunes. I'm in the past. It's Apple
Ooh,
Music. It's
showing
Apple
your
Music.
age. It's Apple Podcasts, technically.
What? I'm not even.
Yeah,
Oh
it's a
well.
separate app, my guy.
When it
Apple
used to all be
Podcast.
one. When it used to all be one. So we would definitely appreciate it if you leave a 5-star review and some comments over on Apple Podcast. And if
Yep.
you're listening on YouTube, feel free to write some comments there. Like the video, I think, or if you're listening in app, leave a like, a thumbs up there. And if you're on Spotify, definitely go ahead and leave a like on that. And you can also, I believe, if you want to, there might be a question that we answer. You can leave a comment or you can also answer that question. I don't think there's voicemail. I don't think you can leave voicemail anymore. They used to have it to where you could. But
Mm,
yeah, we
yeah.
appreciate it. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We're a new
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
on the block. It's a new
It's
year.
a new year. Let's do this.
New year, new us, full of hope,
Full of hope,
reincarnated.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, reincarnated. Let's go.
Reincarnated. We're ready. But yeah, do you have anything closing out, Haley?
No, just I'm excited to continue the podcast. I do hope we get some more listeners and we get to interact with the listeners that we do have. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about more otaku life, otaku topics, and just hang out.
There you go. So be sure to follow us at Tokyo Taco Mode on Twitter or X. And you can also find us on Blue Sky under the same account or name. And then you can also follow YouTube if you're not following YouTube for some Otaku Live shorts that we're putting up and other video coverage that we'll be doing throughout the year of events. And then finally, if you're into some figures, definitely check out our Instagram because we have all the figures that we sell on tokyotakamode.com. Most of them, the highlights, they go up there. So you can see what you might want to buy or just what looks nice.
If nothing else, just look at some pretty pictures.
Exactly. Pretty pictures of mechs. And I'm sorry, I like looking at the mechs. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful start to your new year in 2026. We'll see you next time for episode number 5 of
All
the Otaku
right.
Mode podcast.
Laters.
Laters. Peace.